Welcome back. In this video, we will be discussing CSS Levels. In CSS, any style you apply to a particular element is automatically inherited by its children. By children, we are referring to the elements that exist inside of that element. Over here, the body has a background color of blue, hence the H1 and the P tags inside of the body automatically inherit the same background color. If we are more specific and we set the P background color to red, then it changes because of us being more specific. We can do the same for H1 and change its background color separately, even though it falls under body, but because we were specific, it changes. Now, since H1 and P both have the background color of red, we might choose to group them using a comma. If we add an element inside of the P tag, the style applied to the P tag will apply to that element as well, by default. If we want to target that element specifically, we have to provide a direct reference to it. That anchor tag is part of the P tag. It does not matter where you declare its styling, because you're being more specific. More specific will always win. Here we were specific on two accounts, so the latter wins. You can also reference it in regards to its parent. Now we're saying the A that is a child, direct child of P, which is more specific than just saying A. Hence, it applies the green background color. Note that the greater than symbol emphasizes a direct child relationship. If we remove the direct child relationship, that means any A element that is located inside of a B element. The default priority when it comes to applying styles is browser default, external, internal, and inline. Inline being the most specific, the most highly prioritized. So if your CSS code is inline with your tag, it will be applied no matter what. which means that adding CSS to your HTML, especially inline, undermines your CSS external file. Using classes and IDs to achieve groupings. Classes are usually used to achieve grouping. If we look at the first two paragraph elements, we're adding them to the same class. We're also adding the second and third paragraph elements to a different class. As such, we can use the reference to the first class to change the properties for the first two P elements, and we can use the reference to the second class to change the reference to the third and fourth P elements. The text2 as a selector now refers to the first two P elements. And if we change the color on it, it will change it on both of them. Now text2 as a selector refers to the third and fourth P elements. And if we change the color on that one, it will apply the change to the corresponding elements. If we are to be more specific, we would need an ID. An ID should refer to a singular element, never to a group of elements. To reference an ID, use the pound sign and the ID name, as opposed to referencing a class by using a dot and the class name. Again, the ID is considered more specific, which means it will have priority in applying its style over the class style. Finally, CSS has pseudo classes and pseudo elements. These pseudo classes, pseudo elements include active, focus, link as pseudo classes, and first line, first element as pseudo elements. To refer to a pseudo class, simply use a colon followed by the class name. And to refer to a pseudo element, simply use two colons followed by the element name. If you would like to be more specific, you can add the reference to the pseudo class or the pseudo element after the reference to an element, a class, or an ID. In the next video, we will be discussing styling sections.